Hello and welcome back to Matt's Investing Corner. And today I'm going to talk about AMG Critical Materials. This is a company that is specialized in, as it says, critical materials, rare earth minerals. And they basically have a very interesting portfolio whereby they possess and own some mines or some rights to have a mine exploration and digging production. They have refineries and they have industry whereby they actually can produce all the products that are needed for batteries, and this is diversely spread around the world, but mainly focused on the US and Europe. First, I would like to just show you some slides to give you an understanding of what is AMG Critical Materials under the ticker symbol of AMG. They are stock listed on the Euronext Amsterdam, and I believe there's also a stock listed in France, I believe. But let me first have a look into what AMG Critical Materials is. So here you can see the company description from 2025. First of all, AMG exists out of three main pillars. Their lithium pillar, their vanadium pillar, and their AMG technologies. These are the three pillars on which AMG exists. They are a global supplier of materials to the energy industry, for energy storage, for energy transportation, for batteries, for transportation, for infrastructure, and for specialty metals and chemicals. It's a rather reasonable big company with 3,600 employees, more or less. They're a market leader, leading producer of critical materials and related to processing technologies. They have an annual revenue of 1.4 billion. Their lithium spans from having mining to producing solid-state lithium batteries. They have a mine in Brazil. They have processing and factories in Germany. If we look at vanadium, they are a market leader in recycling of vanadium from oil refining residues. And from that they can get vanadium, titanium, chrome, SRB, BV. And if we look at AMG Technologies, they are established as an advanced metallurgy engineering, whereby they have vacuum furnaces, heat treatment, silicon metal, graphite, antimony, and lever batteries. Their strategy is basically to build the critical materials business through process innovation and product development, focusing on CO2 reduction. They have an expansion of existing high growth businesses. They have a high amount of capital invested. They do process innovation and product development, and they work on the CO2 reduction by their end products, of course. If you look at what kind of materials they're really operating in, well, here you see a geographical spread between the US and the EU and what kind of products they are mainly focusing on. So they have a focus on unique critical materials portfolio within the EU and the US. And here you can see a global footprint of where they have different operating activities between the lithium in green, the vanadium in purple, and the technologies in light blue. And you can see that it's quite well diverse, with the technologies even more spread out the world and also well present in Asia. That said, I would like to show you the quarterly numbers that were presented on Wednesday, the 7th of May, showcasing the following. Basically, their revenue for Q1 2025 increased with 8% compared to the quarter 1 of 2024. And here you can see a nice steady growth of their revenue. Their adjusted EBITDA that went into close to 58 million, which was year on year an increase of 88%, which is significant. If you look at the net income attributable to shareholders, you can see that in 2024 Q1 they were still making a loss of 16 million. Now they're making a profit of 5 million. So that's something very positive, I would say, in terms of how they are moving it around. It's of course a difficult industry. And why is it a difficult industry? Well, lithium, the price of lithium was in 22 and 23 quite high, and let me show that quickly to you. So here you can see the price of lithium carbonate, and I want to see it over the last 5 years. 22, 23. You can see the price of lithium carbonate was at the peak period around 500 to 600,000 per ton, whereas currently you're talking about 65,000 a ton. So that's like tenfold lesser value. And I'm expecting that in the near future the demand for lithium will pick up furthermore again, with all the new EVs and the batteries and all the devices that need to have more capacity, stronger batteries and all that stuff. So lithium is not at the peak at all in the latest period. If we look at vanadium, the price of vanadium and pentoxide on the spot market in Europe went, as you can see here in this curve, whereby you can see in 22, 23 prices were around $12, $13 at the peak period, whereas currently we're at a price of $460 on the spot market for vanadium. So there's a huge, both vanadium and lithium are very at a low price compared to where they were in 22, 23. So that said, I like to go back to the quarterly earnings. So revenue is going up, steadily up, even though the prices of lithium and vanadium are actually very low. Adjusted EBITDA is maintained, especially compared to last quarter, but year on year they're making very good progress. The net income is up with 5 million compared to a year ago having a loss of 16 million. So all in all, quarterly revenue drivers, well, lithium price is down, the volume of lithium is also down. Vanadium, what we're seeing here is that the volumes are also down. What is very positive in these quarterly earnings is what you can see potentially in the technologies on the revenue. If we, that's a bit too much. If we just look at the revenue of technologies, there you can see that there's a jump from the Q1 2024 from 151 to 202, which is a 50 million plus in revenue. Whereas on the vanadium there was a drop of around 12, and on the lithium side there was a drop of around let's say 9 million. Well, -9, -12 and +50, that makes that the technologies was really the grower in the last quarter. All in all, the AMG Lithium financial highlights, these are all details where you can see, which you can find actually on their website if you go to the investor department and you find the Q1 earnings. I'm more interested now into key corporate. All in all, you can see the SG&A expenses, they are going up. They're now at 50 million. As you can see, a nice split between the three pillars. The net financing cost has been dropping compared to last quarter and compared to last quarter and the quarter of 2024. So net finance cost decreased by 4 million. And the income tax expenses decreased also by 2 million. So these are all, I would say, quite positive developments. If we look at the cash flow and the working capital, we can see that they have a net debt that is significant. They have a net debt, but that is rather stable in the last year or so. Year on year, you can see there's a growth of extra debt of 95 million, but you have to understand, of course, by building factories, by buying mines and building capacity as one of the first, that's something that I would like to highlight, they are one of the first to actually have industry in creating industry in Germany. For instance, this is a lithium hydroxide battery grade refinery in Germany. We're building in Europe our own capacity to build battery packs, and this is something that is one of these companies, one of the first in Europe to do so. And there are a number of interesting developments that this company is investing in, and that's in critical minerals, bringing it to US, bringing it to Europe, and that's something I think politically very interesting. This is something lately highly on the agenda, whereby political leaders are aiming to get security of supply of these rare earth and critical minerals. And this is also where you can see, for instance, that lately there was an agreement between Trump and Zelensky on the rare earths that you can find in Ukraine. Another topic is, of course, whereby Mr. Trump was sharing his interest into Greenland. And why? Well, there's a lot of critical and precious minerals in the ground of Greenland. So this is something definitely an interesting topic, and especially for my viewers that are interested to find a company that is based in Europe and indexed on a Europe exchange, Euro traded. AMG is a very interesting company. I'll show you what happened when they published their prices or their earnings on the stock market on the price. So here you see AMG Critical Materials. Currently they are being traded on Friday, 2 days after the earnings, at a price of €19.80. They're up today 3%. But if I look at what happened actually on AMG, this is the price curve of the last 2 years of AMG. They were trading more than a year ago in a range of 22, 23, but in the last year you see that there was a significant drop, and this had to do with the lower prices of lithium and vanadium that were really dropping, and the demand for EVs and hybrids was just declining tremendously, and therefore the prospects of AMG were going down. And what you can see in what happened the last year, it was basically moving and trading in this range between $13 and $16. And what you can see, I've created some trend lines with this. You can see that what happened yesterday was when they released their earnings on the 7th of May. And when they released their earnings, you can see suddenly that the volume, this is the volume of the trades, and this is on daily graph with candlesticks. You can see that the volume tremendously picked up. What does that mean? Well, a lot of investors and potentially also larger capital investors were stepping into AMG. The volume spiked tremendously in terms of how much this share price was traded. And what you can see is that there was a significant candle upwards. They went up, I believe, yesterday with 15%. If I go into last week, you can see it was at 1667, and then it went from 19.25. And if you go back here, you can see that here as well, 16 was where they were trading the day before, and when they published at the end of the Wednesday their numbers, it spiked up with 15% up. It closed with that 15 plus, thankfully, and now the next day on the Friday you can see it went up another 3%. So where are we trading currently? We're trading at 1960, and where do I see this happening? Well, I see this happening in the short term now that they have broken this trend of where they are moving, especially with this positive momentum of the last days. I believe that this share is going towards the resistance of around, as you can see this line, around the 2050. This is the resistance that it will be looking for, and what you will see is that a lot of people that had this share, including myself, were buying, potentially have bought around this level. And what you will see is that once it gets these kind of levels, people start to sell off. And this is why it's called a sort of resistance, where it's now hopefully gonna go in the next coming weeks towards. So is this interesting to invest in? I believe so. It currently broke out. It had a huge volume that basically supported this. What it will be interesting to see if today will be another big volume candle next to that, basically supporting the breakout, and to see where we're gonna close. Currently it has a plus of 3% or 2%, so that's something very positively. Where do I see this next? Well, I see this next moving towards the 22, and if it reaches there, it will not get quickly higher than 24, 25. If it will reach this level, it will be bouncing around this likely for some consolidation. Nonetheless, all in all, where it's moving before, $15, $16 towards 22.5, 24, that's like a growth of 150, 160%. So super interesting to potentially step in. I'm already stepped in because I am a long-term investor into this share. I believe that lithium and vanadium and all rare earth and critical minerals are going to be more and more in demand in the near future. And who knows, maybe it goes back to levels of 46, 48, especially when lithium is in strong demand again. It maybe goes spikes towards $40, $50 or even higher. I'm very curious what you think of this analysis of going through the quarterly earnings of this company, and let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think that it will go back to $15 soon again, it will go back to where it was trading, or do you think that this is a reliable breakout and you think as well that they go to 22, 23 or even higher? So let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.